Well, folks, it's that time of year again. Welcome to the first regular season broadcast here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting of Audubon Green Wave softball, not baseball. While we still are covering the full baseball season in 2023, there are 3 dates where Audubon softball plays when Audubon baseball does not. This is the first, as we'll be covering both softball and baseball opening day here in 2023. I'm Dan Wilkins here with Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. Proud to bring you a production of South Jersey baseball here on opening day between the St. Joseph's Hamilton Wildcats, who went 19-10 in 2022 and reached the non-public B final despite losing to Morris Catholic, and the Audubon Green Wave, who finished 16-8 in 2022 and also made it to their respective Group 1 final, but lost to Clayton in the end. So folks, we got a good one today, and please excuse me if I'm a little bit novice, a little bit new, because it is my first softball game after all, but I'm excited to get into it. There's 2 games this week and then 1 next week over the Easter break. Today versus St. Joseph's Hamilton, and then on Wednesday versus the Collingswood Panthers at 3:45, and then 10 a.m. bright and early next Wednesday on April 12th versus the Delran Bears in Delran. So Wednesday's game will be here, next Wednesday's game will be on the road. So 3 softball games for the Audubon Green Wave slated this year, and as we said, these 2 teams are very good, and it's a very good matchup here on opening day for both teams. You all right there? Okay. You're looking at me like I had 3 heads. But anyways, both teams that are playing today, St. Joseph's Hamilton and Audubon, both reached their group final. In fact, St. Joseph's Hamilton won their final for South Jersey non-public B. Now keep in mind, for private schools, there's non-public A and non-public B based off of how large your school is. Just like for public schools, there's groups 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yes, there is a group 5 now for football, but that's just for football only. But that is, again, determined based off of your school size. Audubon has always been a group 1 school, except for a couple of years when they had a really big class and they were group 2, but they've relatively been on the smaller side. Non-public B is basically the equivalent of group 1 or 2 in public schools, while non-public A would be the larger schools like St. Augustine Prep, Gloucester Catholic, those kind of things. But St. Joseph's Hamilton made it all the way to the final round of the non-public B championship, but lost 4-3 to Morris Catholic. Now, Audubon did not make it to the state final. They did make it to the Group 1 South Jersey final, but lost to Clayton 7-1 in their final game. Starting for the group today is Emily Bobo on the mound, and starting for the St. Joseph's Hamilton Wildcats is Ava Fisher, number 66. So we got a good one today. The Wildcats and the Green Wave. We'll go to break, and we'll give you starting lineups, previews, and much more after this. Well, folks, here we're back from the Audubon Little League Complex here between Walnut Street and Chestnut Street. It's a good day for softball. I almost said baseball because I'm so used to broadcasting baseball that this is a bit out of my comfort zone, but I'm sure it's something that I can adapt to quite quickly. Again, Audubon Green Wave Softball will have 3 Dan Wilkins broadcasting live streams this year. Today versus the St. Joseph's Hamilton Wildcats, on Wednesday versus the Collingswood Panthers, and next Wednesday versus the Delran Bears on April 12th over the spring break. That's at 10 a.m. So if you're working during that day, you may be able to get in some good softball between Audubon and Delran. Let's take a look at starting lineups here, presented by DJK Roofing, South Jersey's #1 roofing supplier with over 200 5-star reviews on the web. Get a free quote today at djkroofing.com. Let's take a look first at the St. Joseph's Hamilton Wildcats, as coached by Les Olson. He's the man in the red sweatshirt there, hitting some BP out to his players in the outfield. Let's take a look. First is Elena Dorsey playing center field. We have the Jaquette playing catcher. At in the third position is Abby Willis, who is playing third base. The starting pitcher is batting cleanup, Ava Fisher. Batting fifth is the left fielder, Kylie Tomlin. Batting sixth is the right fielder, Bella Davis. Batting seventh is Angelina Bill. Batting eighth is Brooke Tyndale. Batting ninth is Bella Ramos, the second baseman. And Leilani Muniz is the flex, which I have not heard of before, but I guess there is a flex 10th hitter in softball. So that is like the one rule change that I'm kind of not used to yet. But for Audubon, it is Emma Spire in center field, Adriana DiValerio in right, batting second, Emily Bobo on the mound and batting third, Allison Yerkaba batting fourth and at the third base position, Ava Griebel batting fifth, Abby Toll behind the plate and batting sixth, Peyton Marone at shortstop and batting seventh, Abby Calhoun in left field batting eighth, Alexa Canuso batting ninth and at second base, and then Kylie Alkins as the flex hitter batting 10th. So a beautiful day, a little bit of wind, but it is blowing in from right field, so don't expect the same result as what happened the last time Audubon played St. Joseph's Hamilton. It was a 16-15 game back in April of last year, mostly because the wind was blowing out, and yeah, it was a pretty interesting game. There were 4 games last year where St. Joseph's Hamilton had games where both teams scored 10 or more runs, which I thought was quite interesting because only, in baseball, like I said, the last time we saw that from a baseball team in Audubon was, I want to say, 2012, besides what happened last year versus college. So it was definitely a bit of a shift in tone, if you want to call it that. Definitely, because if you look at their schedule from last year, they lost their opening day game to a team in Carmichaels, Pennsylvania, 14-13. They beat Clearview 17-10, and April 16th, 2022 was that first game versus Audubon, 16-15 they lost. They beat Atlantic City on May 1st, 20-10, and they beat, let's see, I think, no, that might be it on that part, but they had a lot of high-scoring games, a lot of games where they scored, 15 or more runs and had a lot of different perspectives at the plate. So we'll bring up the main screen as St. Joseph's Hamilton and Audubon about to get set for softball opening day here at the Audubon Little League Complex. Big honor here to be able to broadcast a game today and Wednesday and next Wednesday after that. Again, the pitcher for St. Joseph's Hamilton is Ava Fisher. The starting pitcher for Audubon is Emily Bobo. Every team is meeting in their dugout and having a little bit of huddle. There's Coach Erin Small with her ball club right here. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back in about 60 seconds or so. It's opening day for Audubon Green Wave softball here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. Glad you could make it if possible. If not, you can always watch after the game when the replay is ready on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting on YouTube. We got a great matchup today here between the St. Joseph's Hamilton Wildcats and the Audubon Green Wave. Both teams made it to their respective group final in the region. Now, St. Joseph's Hamilton did make it to the non-public B state final, but lost to Morris Catholic. Audubon made it to the South Jersey Group 1 final, but fell to Clayton. So both of these teams are very accomplished. They're teams that have a lot of rigor under their belt and have a lot of great accomplishments, accolades, and achievements to, kind of fall back on. So these two teams are two teams that are going to basically duke it out as they did last year. As we said earlier on the broadcast before we went to break, April 16th of last year, they had a game that was 16-15 in favor of the Green Wave. So these two have met up before in out-of-conference play. Now, St. Joseph's Hamilton is a part of the Cape Atlantic League, and they finished a pretty respectable 10-2 in inter-division games, if my numbers are right. Yes, they were 10-2 in Cape Atlantic in the National Division, and overall they were 19-10. In order to get to the non-public B final, they had to beat Wildwood Catholic 10-0 and Gloucester Catholic 3-2. But again, June 3rd, they lost to Morris Catholic 4-3. We're getting a lot better camera angles here because the fences are about 100 feet shorter. We'll have a lot better camera angles here today, but taking the field shortly will be the Audubon Green Wave, and as we said, we'll go over the starting lineup one more time for the St. Joseph's Hamilton Wildcats. It's Elena Dorsey in center field, Macy Jaquette at catcher. I keep seeing 2 on there, and I keep thinking catcher, or second base rather. Abby Willis bats third and plays third. Ava Fisher on the mound and batting cleanup. Kylie Tomlin in left field batting 5th. Bella Davis batting 9th and batting 6th and in right field. At the flex spot is Angelina Bill batting 7th. Brooke Tyndale at shortstop batting 8th. Bella Ramos batting 9th and playing second base, and then Leilani Munez in the flex spot. For the Audubon Green Wave, as I just dropped my phone, I'll have to pick that up. Emma Spire in center field. Adriana Di Valerio in right. Emily Bobo on the mound batting 3rd. Allison Yerkeba at shortstop, or at third base rather. Ava Griebel batting 5th. Abby Toll behind the plate. Peyton Marone at shortstop batting 7th. Then you have Abby Calhoun batting 8th and playing left field. I hate when I really don't like when the coaches put down the numbers instead of the positions. I like reading CF instead of 8. Personal pet peeve of mine. But Abby Calhoun in left batting 8th, and Alexa Canuso at second base batting 9th. Kylie Alkins in the flex spot. So you on the main screen, we're all good. So Emily Bobo is the pitcher today here for the Green Wave. 58 1/3 innings for her in her sophomore campaign, but now she'll have her first start of her junior campaign here in 2023. A 2.53 ERA and a whip under 1 is the story that Bobo tells, with 64 strikeouts, 10 hit batters, and 18 walks. So an impressive season for Bobo, as she is committed to Barton College in North Carolina, a Division II program. So that will be a great step in her career, as the first batter she faces is Elena Dorsey, center fielder for the St. Joseph's Hamilton Wildcats. The first of 3 for Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, and the first of plenty for the Audubon Green Wave. Bobo is set, looks down Abby Toll, and the first pitch of 2023 is a ball upstairs, 1-0. 1-0 from Bobo is a strike. Now, the softball strike zones are a little bit redefined compared to what it is in baseball. It's a lot more descriptive of where it's supposed to be, from the letters down to the knees of the batter, especially since a lot of softball players are, maybe a little bit shorter. So it is harder to throw consistently as a pitcher in softball. But it's 2-1 to Dorsey. And that is a swing and a miss, so I guess we had to count wrong. First batter of the season, and we had to count wrong. First strikeout of 2023 for Emily Bobo, and this brings up Macy Jaquette. Jaquette had 93 at-bats in 2022. No homers, 29 hits. First pitch down and away, 1-0. Jaquette showing bunt, draws back, and now goes again. That one is down the third base line and foul. Swing and a miss. And Bobo will have 2 strikes now to Jaquette. Abby Willis on deck for the Wildcats. Upstairs. Now, what I've noticed in softball really that's interesting about the hitters is how they get that running start when they want to try to hit the ball on the ground and take a different approach. Take a look at what Jaquette does. That running start, almost like a Happy Gilmore, takes a couple steps in the box. That one's also upstairs. It's 3-2. So payoff to Jaquette. Bobo gets ready. Winds up again. And there's a little pop-up out to short, and it is passed. Shortstop for Audubon, Miss, see if I wrote it down. There we go, Marone. And that will be a base hit for Jaquette, bringing up Abby Willis. Yeah, my apologies if I'm a little slow on the players' names. I recognize them, but it's just like the words don't go from my brain to my mouth that quickly, so you'll have to excuse me. It's my first softball game, and we're still getting used to the naviances and the changes. Excuse me, the nuances. There we go. Couldn't even get proper words out there.
I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
I'm not sure where I'm going with things half the time. So here's Abby Willis. 1-0 is a fly ball out to left. And that is caught out there. And there is 2 away. Caught by Abby Calhoun, and this will bring up Ava Fisher. Now, considering that, like, if you look at how Haddon Heights in their baseball program, they made the state final, and they lost to Ramsey in the Group 2 final. But what you'll notice is that a lot of the players have a lot more at-bats than they usually would. If here comes a throw down to second base, and that's a stolen base for Marie Jaquette. I believe that was a swing and a miss by Fisher.
Okay.
So it'll be 0-1, but Abby Willis, or hold on. So Les Olson is talking to the home plate umpire, and now Aaron Small is coming out. There may have been a violation of some sort, because in softball, you cannot leave the bases early and you can't have a lead.
Oh.
That is the one caveat that was very common that I saw when I asked some of the softball players. I said, what are some rules that are different from baseball that I need to know about? And the main one was that you can't leave the base early and there are no leads. So that is probably the biggest thing, because the fields are so small compared to how they are in baseball. I mean, this is literally the Little League baseball field. 182 down the left field line because of the short porch that leads on the Sutphin Lane, and then 204 feet to center field. So here's the pitch. Good frame by Toll, but doesn't go. Should be 2-1, I believe. Maybe 1-2, somewhere around that ballpark. Sometimes it can't be short. It's the first inning of the ball game. We got a lot of time to figure it out. Upstairs.
And where we are, we can't see the scoreboard.
I don't even think the scoreboard is on. There's nobody in the press box, so
okay.
Nobody's home up there. So we are really just looking for signals from the home plate umpire. That really might be our saving grace. Swinging a fly ball out to center. Wynn's going to keep this one in, and Calhoun makes the catch. Side retired. St. Joe's gets a single, but nothing more. They leave a runner on second. It'll be Spire, DiValerio, and Bobo due up for the Green Wave in their first inning of regular season play. Here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. We'll go to break. We're back here from the Audubon Little League Complex. St. Joseph's had one base runner on a single by Macy Jaquette, but nothing doing there, and the runner was left on second. Again, the first three hitters for the Green Wave in the bottom half of the first will be Emma Spire, Adriana Di Valerio, and Emily Bobo. Now, the starting pitcher for the Wildcats is Ava Fisher, and I was doing my research for this game today, and I was looking at her stats from this year, and I thought I had typed in the numbers wrong, but no, there is no error. She pitched 114 and 2/3 innings last year. Now, there is partially a reason for that. In baseball, there's a lot of pitchers that need rest because of the fact that you have just pitchers who get tired. You have pitchers who get tired, and you have players who, because throwing a baseball overhand is not a natural motion. It's kind of like the granny shot in basketball, you know? It's a lot different of a motion, and it requires less arm, less straining on the arm. So tossing the softball underhand really is a natural motion and doesn't really tire out the pitcher that much. So they don't really need that much of rest. Therefore, they carry a lot less pitchers on the ball club than a baseball team would.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So, like, college softball teams really only carry, like, maybe half a dozen pitchers on their team, maybe even less than that, because of just how little rest you need to be able to play softball and be able to pitch. There's a strike, and the count is 1-1 to Emma Spire, a freshman, on the women's basketball team as well. Must be a very talented athlete if you can be a freshman starter in 2 sports.
Absolutely.
There's the ball. No call by the home plate umpire. It should be 2-1. Let's see if there's a signal. That's all you gotta wait for. There's a strike. 2-2. And yes, it is 2-2 to Spire. Fisher steps back, winds up again, and there's a swing and a miss. Bit of a half-hearted swing by Spire, and she's got her first strikeout of 2023. She had 172 strikeouts in 2022. I mean, truly an incredible feat for Fisher, but again, at the same time, you got to consider that just the way the game is played, even though the rules are more or less the same, there is a difference when it comes to how, stats are recorded and everything like that. Batting averages may look different for softball than they may for baseball. Not because the formula is any different, not like the math is any different. It's just that the way the game is played fundamentally is at a different, position. One's outside. It's 2-0 to Adriana Di Valerio. The sophomore class of 2025. Last year had 61 at-bats. 26 hits all told, all of them singles. Outside, it's called a late strike, very late strike. Took about a couple seconds for the umpire to make his call, and it's 2-1. At a .426 batting average, so even though no extra base hits on the record, still a very impressive number there, as it's 2-2. Count is even now to Di Valerio. On deck is Emily Bobo, followed by Allison Yerkeva, the senior, if the Green Wave can muster a base runner. Outside. Count is full. Di Valerio. That's ball 4. So Di Valerio is the first base runner for the Green Wave this season. And now Emily Bobo will be at the plate. You notice that the dugout chants are still here in softball.
A little different than the baseball Little League.
Yeah, they're more rhythmic, They're more...
In tune.
Yes, in tune. Baseball is just kind of nonsensical yapping. And softball is more, in a rhythm, more in more well-mannered production. 0-1 Emily Bobo, the third batter of the inning for the Green Wave. Again, after this will be Allison Yerkeba, senior third baseman for the Green Wave. Bobo last year, 55 at-bats, a .273 batting average. And there's a foul ball out towards the chain link fence down there, and it's 0-2. Bobo down in the count, looking to advance the base runner Di Valerio. And here's a little pop-up out towards the catcher. The catcher, Chiquette, who makes the catch. And there's now 2 down for Yerkeba. Now, Yerkeba led the ball club in home runs last year with 4, had 60 at-bats, and 29 hits. Her batting average was .483. If she played baseball, that would be the second best in the Colonial Conference. It's a swing and a miss. Big hack there by Yerkeba. And an OPS of 1.363, which is insanely good numbers, I would say. I don't know anything about a college commitment from her. The only thing I would know is Bobo. As here goes Di Valerio down to second base, and the throw is a little bit offline, and she was signaled safe at second. So both teams allow a stolen base, but we'll see if the outcome is any different for Audubon versus St. Joe's, how they handled it in the top of the first. But Yerkeba's a big power bat. 3 doubles, 2 triples, and 4 homers, all told. As here's the pitch from Fisher to Yerkeba. Inside. Waiting for a call here. I really should be keeping track of the count more, but I'm more used to relying on the scoreboard, so maybe I should break that habit. There's a strike. Should be 2 strikes on Yerkeba. 2-2 to Allison Yerkeba. After this will be Ava Griebel for the Green Wave, if she gets aboard. And she does not. So Fisher and Bobo both trade off scoreless innings. So we go to the top of the second. No score here from the Audubon Little League Complex. Here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, we'll go to break. Coming back here from the top of the second, no score between St. Joseph's Hamilton and Audubon on opening day here for softball in 2023 here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. St. Joe's had 4 girls come to the plate, only 1 reached base, and 2 pop-outs to left field. Kylie Tomlin at the dish for the Wildcats as she takes the first pitch inside, 1-0. Emily Bobo still working strong here in her second inning of work in 2023. And there's a strike, 1-1. Tomlin had 54 at-bats last year, 2 extra base hits, 7 walks, and 15 hits all told. Here's a swing and a fly ball, popped up. your Kaba is there. And there is one away. Bobo forcing a lot of short fly balls. And that will bring up Bella Davis, the right fielder. Bella Davis here, stepping in for the first time in 2023. First pitch. It's a swing and a miss. 0-1. Here's the 0-1 from Bobo to Davis. Swing and a foul back to the chain link fence with a nice cling at the end of it. It's 0-2. The 0-2 to Davis. South. Two and two. Bella Davis. There's a swing and a fly ball out towards first. Alkins is out there, and she can't get there, and takes a little tumble. She hops right back up though. So foul ball. Alkins couldn't bring it in, and still 2 and 2. Swing and a miss. Swing and a miss. Davis down on strikes. Second strikeout for Bobo, and this will bring up Angelina Bill. So Angelina Bill at the dish, wearing the number 90. Probably one of the higher numbers that I've seen in high school sports. That one's inside. I mean, you sometimes see, like obviously in the NFL, you see a lot of linemen and wide receivers wearing high numbers. Strike. Ground ball, foul up the third base line. Yeah, very, very high numbers over there in the NFL, but also in the MLB you sometimes see it. Like I said, when I played for the All-Star team, or when I was given a jersey by the All-Star team, I couldn't play because of previous commitments, but for the Little League, when I was like 12 years old, I wanted the number 92 because it hadn't been worn yet in Major League Baseball. It was inside. So it should be 2 and 2. But I wore number 92 because that was one of 3 numbers that hadn't been worn yet in Major League Baseball. 89, 90, and 92. And of course, they've been taken up multiple times by now. But swing and a miss. Bobo's got 3 strikeouts through 2 innings and only allowed 1 hit so far. So we're keeping it rolling. No score through 1.5. We'll be right back after this. In the bottom of the second, Ava Griebel leading off for the Green Wave. It'll be Griebel, Abby Toll, and Peyton Marone, the freshman. Swing and a miss by Griebel. Another swing and a miss. Great break by Fisher there. Ball was trailing outside there. I honestly don't know a lot about how a break works in softball because, you know, there's certain pitch grips that make the ball move a certain way in baseball, but, you know, you can't really hold a softball that well unless you have big hands. One is down low.
Do you know how many different pitches they have?
I don't know how many they have.
Yeah, we're going to have to find out for the next game.
I mean, it's not like you can really do a knuckleball on a softball. You can't really do that, you know, because at least in a baseball, it fits in the palm of your hand.
Maybe
Softball,
Shaq should do one.
maybe Shaq. Yeah, if Shaq was like a slow pitch softball player, he could definitely bring out a nasty knuckleball. But very different than baseball. You know, there's probably like a sinker ball of sorts, but the softball basically takes up the size of your entire hand compared to baseball, where you can really fit it in the palm. Well, Griebel's worked the count full. She was down 0-2 after 2 swings and misses. Now she's really back into it now, so Fisher's got some work to do. Dugout clapping along, supporting their teammate. Outside. Way to work the at-bat for Griebel. She gets the first base. Second walk of the day for Fisher. First one was DiValerio, but still no hits for the Green Wave. They've had a strikeout, a walk, a pop-up to the catcher, and a strikeout. And now to start the second inning, a walk as Abby Toll is at the dish. She shows bunt. Griebel leads off the base, but no throw. Want to know? Yeah, looked like Toll pulled back in time. That one's in the dirt, and they'll go to the chain link fence, and Griebel will move up on the wild pitch. So now Griebel now in scoring position. That's going to set up well for Toll. With nobody out, Fisher in a little bit of trouble. Peyton Marone and Abby Calhoun do up for it. Showing bunt again, pops it up, back towards the plate, and it's foul. Two-strike count to Toll. It is 1-2 to Toll. Although I could also be wildly wrong on that. I guess I'm not. There's a strikeout. Third of the day for Fisher as the pitcher's battle continues. Here's Peyton Marone, the freshman. Again, another member of the women's basketball team and also of the girls soccer team. 3 sport athletes. I don't know how they do it. But at the same time, I'm doing it in different capacities. So 6 one way, half a dozen another. The first pitch is a strike to Marone.
You're breaking a lot less sweats.
That is true. That is very true. Maybe carrying the big director's chair from the car to the grandstand. You know, that's something. So and 2. The umpire, if you've noticed, is taking a couple seconds to make the call. I don't know if he's saying it audibly and then putting up like his fist to show the strike, or I don't know, but you might want to notice that because it's taking me a couple seconds to like register. Oh, that was a strike. Well, that one was no doubt a strike as there was a swing and a miss by Marone. fourth K for Fisher, continuing to wheel and deal here, as here is Abby Calhoun, the left fielder.
Winds are currently 15 miles an hour.
The only problem is they're blowing into right field. The American flag is basically not straight out, but pretty darn close to it out at the high school, which is behind us, but from the other direction. That one's way outside. Great save there by the catcher, Taquet, to avoid that ball from being a wild pitch. It's 1-0. Rebel on second base. That one's outside again. Definitely high. That's 2-0. But when we're doing the baseball games, we're facing away from the high school from the back end of the high school. This time we're facing away from the high school at its front end. That one's upstairs. 3-0. Fisher in a little bit of trouble here. Still going strong in the wake of adversity. Strike. As called audibly by the home plate umpire, it's 3-1. If this inning were to continue after Calhoun, the sophomore Alexa Canuso would be the next to hit for the Green Wave. After that would be the flex hitter Kylie Alkins, who at this point I don't think has a helmet on in the dugout. And that will be ball 4. So first base, which now was unoccupied, now has a visitor. Coach Brown down there, Miss Brown, greeting Calhoun as Alexa Canuso will come up after a quick meeting by the catcher Taquet and the pitcher Fisher. So here's Alexa Canuso. She'll come up here with 2 down and 2 runners aboard for the Green Wave. Strike. Canuso. 34 at-bats for Alexa. Last year, 3 extra base hits. A 324 batting average. 790 OPS. Oh, excuse me, there we go. There's a pop-up. Back towards the plate and bobbled a little bit by Taquet, but she hangs on. And the inning is over. The Green Wave leave 2 on. We'll be right back after this. Scoreless after 2 from Audubon. Top of the third. It's been a pitcher's duel so far between the D2 Barton College commit Emily Bobo and the workhorse with 114 innings from last year, Ava Fisher. Is the first batter for St. Joe's. The top half of the third will be Brooke Tyndale. It's the first pitch as a ball. Strike, 1-1. Tyndale, 54 at-bats last year, 15 hits, 9 walks, 2 hit by pitches. Outside. A little bit high. 3-1 to Tyndale. Next up will be Bella Ramos. Swing and a miss. Count is full. Bobo so far, one hit allowed to Macy Jaquette, who got to second base, but that's really all it's been. 3 strikeouts. A lot of forced fly balls, I would say. That one's upstairs, so Bobo surrenders the walk. That will bring up Bella Ramos. Here's a bunt out to Bobo, throw to first on the sacrifice is in time, and moving to second is Tyndale, and now this will bring up, let's see, okay, so this will go back to the top of the order with Elena Dorsey, so Leilani Muniz will not hit this time around. Again, we're trying to figure out for the life of me. I'm sure we'll get it figured out by Wednesday because I have some classes with a lot of the softball players, and I'm sure they can explain it to me better than I can to you right now. But there's a flex hitter in the order, and for Audubon it's Kylie Alkins. For St. Joseph's it's Leilani Muniz, and they seem to have omitted Muniz and gone straight from Ramos to back to Elena Dorsey. So again, first pitch was fouled back, so it's 0-1, and that one is called a strike on the outside corner, maybe a little bit outside, but called the same. It is 0-2. Everyone ready here on the infield for the Green Wave, and a little bit of a running start popped up in the infield, and your Kaba is there to make the play. 2 down. So Tyndale walked. Ramos had a sacrifice bunt, and now this will bring up Macy Jaquette, who has the only base hit off of Bobo so far in the first 3 innings. The 1-0 rather, is a strike. 0-2. So you can also tell when it's 2 strikes because some of the outfielders are saying 1 more. As there's a swing and a miss. Bobo sets down another. It's Jaquette. 4 strikeouts for Bobo after 3 innings. We still have no score here from Audubon. From the top of the 4th, there's the beautiful facade of the Audubon High School just behind us, of course from another direction, so you don't see those wonderful pillars out there. Beautiful shot, beautiful day here from the Audubon Little League complex as Ava Fisher continues to lead a scoreless effort for the Wildcats as first batter for the Green Wave. Will be Alexa Canuso. Or no, that is back to the top of the order. So it is Emma Spire. Takes a strike. It's 0-1. There's a ground ball to third, and it is caught. Or no, it wasn't. Excuse me. I missed that one. My apologies. I really missed that one because our tent was going a little crazy, so, just to protect from the winds. So base hit for Spire as that breaks up the no-hit bid. Still no score at the top of the fourth. Here goes down to second. Spire is safe. Got in there in plenty of time. So leading off a second is Spire. As DiValerio sets in versus Fisher. Shows bunt. Doesn't get it. You can see Jaquette firing a ball back to Fisher. Really getting quick work in. Foul back. Looked like, again, a bit of a half-hearted swing, but still with the same result. Next up will be Bobo. Downstairs. Spire was trailing off of second but held up. Upstairs. She is retired on strikes. Bobo at the dish. First strikeout of the inning, and in total for Ava Fisher, it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here today as Emily Bobo at the dish, Allison Yerkeba to follow. First pitch is upstairs. 1-0. I mean, hey, it's got to be a sweet life being a darn good two-way player. Being the best pitcher on your squad in terms of ERA and also being the number 3 hitter on your team. You know, it takes a leadership role to do that. As there's a foul ball. Off the telephone pole and into Walnut Street. I do remember a lot of times when I used to watch the Little League games, when I used to commentate the Little League games, if there was a softball game going on, we would have to wait until it was over for me to get up into the press box because nobody would be up there in the press box to unlock it. But that was always an interesting situation, and I always told people, I said, you would be crazy if you would not be willing to watch by the pitcher Fisher today. So now runners on first and second with one down, as Allison Urqueba will be at the dish now. One out, runners on first and second. And Urqueba at the dish. They're going to have a substitute runner here for Bobo in case there's a double play of sorts. Who will take her place is the question. And it is... Urqueba versus Fisher. Swinging a miss. Out at first base is number 12, which is Angelina Eckert, the 2025 sophomore. Urqueba taps one back to the mound, throw to first, is going to airmail the first baseman and score a run for the Green Wave. Coming home is Valerio, or rather Spire, and it is 1-0 Green Wave, their first run of 2023. Urqueba gets to second on what will be scored as an E1, as it went right past the first baseman, number 28, Muniz. So now here is Griebel, time's called. Runners on second and third, Urqueba on second, and the pinch runner Eckert on third, as they're swinging a miss by Griebel. So Spire came around the score on the E1. She goes to second. Eckert goes to third. So two runners in scoring position. Fisher in a little bit of trouble. That one's upstairs, almost went to the backstop. And Jaquette had turned around like the ball went to the backstop. Maybe she was a little bit caught off guard. Upstairs. And here's a ground ball foul, and even Jaquette didn't know where that one had went. It was chopped so high in the air, went to the level of the press box. One out, two runners in scoring position. Audubon's already got one on the board. They look to extend their lead a little over the Wildcats. As there is strike three. Beautiful pitch by Fisher. And her sixth strikeout. She's had at least two in every inning she's pitched so far. And Griebel is the latest victim on strikeout looking. And that's two away. Here's Abby Toll. First pitch is a fly ball, popped up out towards the mound, and calling for it is the third baseman Willis, and the side is retired. Audubon gets one home but leaves two aboard. We go to the top of the fourth? Yes, top of the fourth. Bottom of the fourth? Oh my goodness, we've been moving that quickly? 1-0 Green Wave. We'll be right back after this. Top of the fourth inning. Sorry for the confusion. We hit a wrong button on the scoreboard. As the first batter will be Abby Willis. First pitch of the ball. Bobo working well, just one hit allowed. No runs, but Audubon finally got some run support, because that would have been a real shame if Bobo had done this well and then just couldn't deliver in the end because, you know, her offense didn't give her that support, and it looks like they have. They left 2 runners on, but they got a run home thanks to Emma Spire scoring on a E1, a pitcher error by Ava Fisher, airmailing the first baseman Eunice. That one's upstairs. Should be 3-0. Bobo will want to avoid a leadoff walk, although she did so in the third and got out of it. And there is a pop-up towards third and out of play towards the playground out back there. See, when I did the live streams for Audubon Little League, this was before I had any of this. I was using my iPhone. And
that's back when I had money still.
and a pair of Apple earbuds. It was the most bare bones setup you could have as down goes Willis. Strikeout there, way to work out of the jam. You know, I thought that was interesting. Look, you know, the infield joining Bobo on the mound and then breaking, you know, like, that's very different than how baseball is. It's very different. But now, here is Ava Fisher. First pitch fly ball, deep center field. Spire comes down with it. 2 down. Nice defense by Spire, being able to work in the wind and being able to adapt to where the ball is going. I would imagine that a softball is a little bit easier to see than a baseball, considering that if it's cloudy outside, which it mostly is cloudy, there is sun poking through, but the clouds aren't so dense that you can't see anything at all. So it's it's green. It's like a neon green. You can see it right there. I have seen some white softballs, but I think those are only for practice use. So base hit to right by Ava Fisher. And with one away, it'll be Kylie Tomlin. And umpire now putting out his lineup card. What's going on here? I think Les Olson may have, oh, there's going to be a pinch runner. So at first base now is Tiffany Wiley. So Tiffany Wiley at first base, but I don't know what this holdup is, because usually it doesn't require a lineup card to see what changes were made on the base paths. This is interesting. Well, looks like whatever issue it was has been resolved, and Bobo will now step in versus Kylie Tomlin. Runners on, one runner on first base, and that one will skip away from Toll, and it'll be a wild pitch. Ball went a little bit awry from Bobo and ended up skipping away to the backstop. It's 1-0 to Tomlin. Yeah, it seems like whatever chance there was of having like a high-powered offensive game probably is out the window due to the fact that just the wind is so heavy, as that one's headed towards the Tommy Quinn house. Back there.
And the pitching is very good.
The pitching is very good. You have Fisher.
Both sides, yeah.
You know, you look at Fisher's ERA from the last year and, you know, 172 strikeouts. You know, both of these pitchers have been great in what they've done. So, yeah. There's 2 down now as Tomlin was retired and the pop-up back to the press box is out of play. So 2 outs, runner on second. popped up first base side. It'll go out of play again towards the street and into someone's front lawn.
Most houses in the spring, flowers start to pop up out of lawn. Around the fields, people get balls in their lawns.
Well, I would also say that, you know, if you're living around the Little League,
It's expected.
it is expected. You know, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
Especially for the people who also live on the street and then park on the street, you know.
Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of a rite of passage that when you buy a house on Walnut Street or Sutphen Lane, that there's really just a guarantee that there's going to be some window insurance that you're going to have to pay for. You're going to have to spice up your budget a little bit, get some really thick windows. Here's a fly ball, center field. Going back is Spire, and again, really no wind on that play, but it still showed as a deep fly ball results in an out, not a home run. St. Joe is still scoreless going to the bottom of the fourth. 1-0 Green Wave. Bottom of the fourth here as the Green Wave have a 1-0 lead over the St. Joseph's Hamilton Wildcats. You're watching coverage of Audubon Green Wave softball here on Dan Wolfkin's Broadcasting. If you have any questions or comments about today's broadcast, drop me a line at Dan, D-A-N, Wilkins, W-I-L-K-I-N-S, show, S-H-O-W, @gmail.com. Again, we're looking for sponsors for the 2023 season. So if you are a small business owner or if you know a small business owner, it's a good gift and it's also good exposure for your brand and for us as well. There's a $50 package that includes a spoken word advertisement like we will have in the top of the fifth inning with banners, and signs, but also with a $100 advertisement. You get a portion of the game named after your company, like player of the game, home run replay, that kind of stuff, named after your business, and again, increased ad exposure. And a $150 package includes a commercial, plus the $100 and $50 package combined, but also a 30-second commercial filmed on location with editing, voiceovers, filming, everything like that, unless otherwise requested, done by myself and our crew. As it's a 2-strike count to Peyton Marone. Swing and a miss. Bit of a half-hearted swing there by Marone, but it counts just the same, and there's one away. Pitch to Abby Calhoun is a ball. 1-0. Fisher's allowed 1 run, but struck out 8 batters so far. Doing a good job today. His first Second offering is upstairs, but called a strike. It's 1-1. Great turnout here in Audubon. Parents and fans alike lining the outfield fences and bringing their lawn chairs down the foul lines, as they would for baseball, but they have a lot less space to work with, I'll tell you that. It's 1-2. With Harry Green down the left field line, taking some pictures with very large lens, I'll tell you that. He does a great job with his photography. Swinging a line shot foul towards Coach Brown and the St. Joe's dugout.
We're only an hour 20.
Yeah.
It's moving fast.
Maybe baseball needs to get a cue or two from softball on how to make the games quicker.
We ladies are efficient, let's say that.
Here's a little looper out to right, and that is a base hit for Calhoun. And she gets aboard. So now this will bring up Alexa Canuso. I mean, despite the run that's on the board, this is just the second hit that Fisher has allowed in this ball game. So, yeah, and keep in mind, we started the broadcast, I think, 5 to 10 minutes before the actual start of the ball game. So that's closer to 1:15, 1:10. So
Quick moving game.
very quickly moving. Remember, they do play 7 here. Like, I almost feel like I have less time to talk about, you know, the random rambling stories that many of you baseball viewers may be very used to. We got a busy week ahead. That's a 2-strike count to Canuso.
Hopefully we don't run out of stories.
Yeah, honestly, with this game being so old and so historic, you really can't run out of stories. And guess what? The more games you do, the more stories you build along the way.
That's true.
2-2 to Canuso. Top of the order will be the next to follow for the Green Wave, Emma Spiner, followed by Adriana Di Valerio. As here is a line drive out to second, throw on for 1 on the first is not in time. So Canuso beats it out, and a fielder's choice now brings up Emma Spire. The runner remains on first, just a person has changed. Runner on first, 2 down. After the fielder's choice. First pitch to Spire. It's up and in, almost grazed her, and it's 1-0. Outside. 2-0. Busy week for Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. Obviously softball today, baseball versus Paulsboro tomorrow, Audubon Paulsboro, opening day. And then Wednesday is another softball game versus Collingswood. That one's in the dirt. Then Thursday is an Audubon baseball game in Haddonfield at 4 o'clock. Keep in mind that there is some internet troubles over there, so if we cannot live stream the game, it will be tape delayed and uploaded afterwards, but there will be live updates on our Twitter account at DW Broadcasting, so check us out there for more information. And then on Friday, this was just confirmed about 30 minutes ago, but Dan Wilkins Broadcasting will be live streaming its first ever college baseball game. Rutgers Newark versus Rutgers Camden at the old Campbell's Field, the Camden Athletic Fields, 3:30 p.m. on Friday. You know, you will not want to miss it, because we will be absolutely just so excited to get our first ever college baseball game in the books. I'm jittery with joy after what I heard from the Rutgers Camden Twitter account when their admin told me that Ryan Kulik was cool with it, and everybody else was all right with us live streaming the game, so that is great. A walk to Spire brings up Adriana Di Valerio, so runners on first and second now with 2 away, as the first pitch is a strike, 0-1 to Di Valerio. If this inning were to continue, Bobo is the next on deck. 1-0 Green Wave here in the bottom of the fourth, opening day for softball. In the dirt. Good trap there, and a throw down to second. It was almost enough to catch Canuso off guard. I think that Canuso might not have been expecting such a strong throw from Taquette, but really, Macy Taquette has been really stepping it up and being able to block the ball and really catch some runners off guard with a really strong arm. That one goes for the backstop. Both runners move up. Trailing off of second is Spire, but everybody holds, and now runners on second and third for the Green Wave. And there is a strike. So 2-strike count to De Valerio. It should be 2-2 on the register. A lot of winds coming in. A little bit of goosebumps forming on my arms there. Still fighting through as there's a swing and a miss. De Valerio dropped the bat and seemed to not be able to get a hold of that one, but a swing and a miss. Fisher delivers another strikeout, and the side is retired. We go to the top of the fifth. More than halfway home at this point, keeping a really good run here at Audubon. 1-0 Green Wave. Well, that was fast. I mean, this is something I got to get used to. Maybe Major League Baseball should take a look at this. Instead of worrying about the pace of play by having a pitch clock, how about we don't have like 3 minutes worth of warm-up, just have like 90 seconds. It'll be good. First batter of the top of the fifth will be Angelina Bill, wearing the number 90, as we said.
And again, when you don't have lights on your field, you can't really take your time.
No, you can't really. I mean, what time is it now? Like 5 o'clock, something like that?
Yeah, 5 o'clock. 5:07.
Yeah, 5:07. First pitch is outside to Bill, and it's 1-0. I mean, the Little League, if they were to be starting, I have no idea if they have a game. I mean, if they would, I knew the drill well enough is that players would start showing up around 5 o'clock, as there's a base hitting the left by Bill, picked up, and holding it first was Angelina Bill. So number 90 for the Wildcats gets a base hit to lead off the top of the fifth, and that puts Bobo in a little bit of an adverse situation facing Brooke Tyndale. There's a runner on first, nobody out, top of the fifth here on opening day for Green Wave softball. First pitch is outside to Tyndale. Showing bunt. It's tapped backwards behind the plate. Yeah, I mean, the routine would go is that if there was a game, it would be at 5:45, to kind of allocate time for parents who are at work to, go home, get their kids, bring them to the ballpark. And also, like, some kids would bring themselves to the game. They have their equipment on their back in like a backpack. That one's a strike, 22. They'd have their equipment in a backpack, and like they'd ride their bike here, and like they installed a couple nice bike racks here a couple of years ago. But like 5 o'clock, players would get here. Game would start at 5:45 if there was no softball. if there was softball, you'd be better off probably starting the game at like 6 or 6:15, something closer to that, so that it was just, if the game was scheduled to start at 5:45 and there was softball, there was about a 1 in a million chance that the softball game would end on time. But that one's outside, 2-2. But it's mostly just because if a softball game starts at 3:45, you assume the game takes about 2 hours. Then at the same time, you got to tear it down, you got to be able to clean up, get all your stuff out of the dugout, have time for all the other players to get their stuff in the dugout. As there's a strikeout to Tyndale. And there is one away for Bella Ramos. Bobo so far, I mean, this has basically been a battle of the strikeouts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for Bobo, and 9 for Fisher for the Hamilton Wildcats. The reason why I say St. Joseph's Hamilton is that there are 3 St. Joseph's in New Jersey, all private schools in 3 different towns. Kind of like how there's a Camden East Side, Camden Academy Charter, that kind of stuff. Like, they're all in the same city, but they go by different names. Of course, the St. Joseph's debacle is a little bit different, as the count is 2-0. That debate is a little bit different because it's the same name. It's honoring the same person, St. Joseph, but they're in 3 different places. There's St. Joseph's Hamilton. That one is a strike, 2-1. So there's St. Joseph's Hamilton, but also up in North Jersey, there's St. Joseph's Metuchen up near New York, and there's St. Joseph's Montvale, which I'm honestly not sure where that is, but it's all named after the same saint. It's just in a different location. I didn't even realize until recently, the count is 2-2 to Ramos. I didn't realize until recently that Paul VI, which is the Pope that the high school in Haddonfield on Hopkins Road, he's named after the Pope that was pretty modern, I believe. Somewhere around the 1950s is when he died. That one's upstairs. Count should be full, because then you had Pope John Paul I, who only lasted about a month. Pope John Paul II, and then Benedict, and Pope Frankie. Swing and a miss. Ramos down on strikes, make that 8 Ks for Bobo. Continuing to wheel and deal, and now it will be Elena Dorsey back at the top of the order for a 3rd go-around. Struck out her first time up and then popped out to the 3rd baseman Yerkeba her 2nd time in the 3rd. As there's a strike. St. Joe's has not had more than 4 batters in an inning. They've had 4 in the 1st, 3 in the 2nd, 4 in the 3rd, 4 in the 4th, and this is the 4th batter of the 5th. As here's a bunt, foul by Dorsey, and the count is 0-2. Keeping it moving fast. Sun shining through a pocket of the clouds here behind us. It's like I said, a beautiful day here in Audubon. The wind might make it a little bit chilly, but it is what it is. 63 degrees, wind blowing south at 13 miles an hour, which again would be blowing in from right field. Here's a ground ball up the middle, base hit for St. Joe's, and that moves everybody up 60 feet. See, I'm used to saying 90 feet for baseball, but the bases here are only 60 feet apart. It's 40 feet from the mound to home plate, and then 60 from first base to second, second to third, third to home, and so on and so forth. So here is Macy Jaquette. Good save there by Toll, and it's 1-0. Elena Dorsey on first base, Angelina Bill on second. St. Joseph's for the first time, as I just said, this is their 5th batter of the inning, the first time they've done that today. Swing and a foul. 2 strikes to Jaquette. If the inning were to continue, Abby Willis would be next. Bunt on the 2-strike pitch, and your Kaba is gonna have a dropped ball, throw to the plate, passes by Toll, and now Jaquette will have to go to second base. She ran right past the bag, and a defensive blunder by the Green Wave have now tied this game up at 1 for the Wildcats. So runners now stand at second and third. Macy Jaquette at second, who already had a single in this game, and now Elena Dorsey at third, which brings up Abby Willis, excuse me. So Jaquette ran, through first base, but it looked like, from my view, that Alkins dropped the ball and then tried to throw it home, but just missed the mark on Toll. This game is tied at 1. First earned run of the season, or I would not call that an earned run because that would be an error. It's fouled back to screen. If the inning were to continue after this batter, which would be the 7th of the inning for the Wildcats, and it will be Ava Fisher, the pitcher, who is getting ready on deck. Well, we're getting ready though. Back at square one though, a tie game at 1 apiece, and that one is a ball. Some fans out here in the outfield not necessarily happy with the call. Some said right down the middle for a ball. Here's a foul. Out towards the fence. The fence is pretty high up there. I mean, you look at it from that view and it's above the press box. I would say a good 50, 60 feet. I mean, I'm not that great at visual measurements, but it'll do. If the press box is that high up in the air. Here's a pop-up back behind the plate. Toll can't find it, and it's on top of the press box and bounces over. You would have to imagine they got to replace the shingles on that building every couple of years, just because of the sheer amount of baseballs and softballs that pummel it every year. That's just me though. I'm not a roofing guy. Here's another pop-up that will go onto Walnut Street and into somebody's front lawn. Just be glad it's going on somebody's front lawn and not into somebody's front seat of their car. Strike count to Abby Willis, number 54 for the Wildcats. Backs out of the way, and it's inside. Runners on second and third. It's Jaquette and Dorsey. And here's a line shot to center, and Spire is there. 1 run is surrendered, however. We go to the bottom of the 5th. St. Joseph's, Hamilton, and Audubon back at square one. It's 1-1. Ava Fisher wheeling and dealing for the St. Joseph's Hamilton Wildcats. We've got a good one so far, 1-1 ball game. Not a lot of offense, and really the pitching has been what has carried this ball game so far. So really, just a lot of strikeouts. Ava Fisher has retired 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Audubon Green Wave batters via the strikeout. And the first one of the fifth will be Emily Bobo, as Eva Lario went down via the K last time up, as Bobo walked in her second plate appearance and popped out to the catcher the first time. So that one is a ball. This broadcast is brought to you by Piroli's Printing and Bantel's Banner Signs and Apparel, the true one-stop shop for all your print and promotional needs with a 5-star Google rating. Over 50 years in business, handling any ink on paper project, as well as banners, signs, apparel, and promotional swag. Check it out today. It's going to be a good season for Bantel's Banners and Signs. They cover all the outfield signs here at the Audubon Little League, all the outfield signs at the Audubon High School. They really do a lot. That one's fouled back. They do a lot for the community, and it really shows in how much exposure these brands get from their advertisements being placed. 2-strike count to Bobo. Due up this inning is Bobo, Yerkaba, and Griebel. After that would be Abby Toll in the fourth spot. It's another foul. Bobo staying alive off of Fisher. A pitcher versus pitcher battle. Never better in softball, even baseball too. Upstairs. The cat had to get out of her crouch for that one. Two strikes to Bobo. 2-2. Swang and a miss. Double-digit strikeouts for Ava Fisher. And this will bring up Yerkaba. The sun shines again. A little bit in and out, but a bit of bluer skies now. A little bit less cloudy than it was about 30 minutes ago. Beautiful day today, even though the trees haven't really gotten a lot of their flowers yet. Hold on. Of course, I want to get one good shot and then ends up spoiling it for me. There we go. Upstairs. Swing and a miss. 2 strikes to Yerkaba. It is 2-2. Should be at least. There's another swing and a foul out towards Walnut. And off of somebody's siding. I mean, some of these houses down here are really nice, so it kind of makes you think, these guys, especially like towards the closer to the ballpark, they got really nice houses, and I'm sure a lot of them can afford to have some panels replaced, maybe a window or two. But the windows, as that is ball 4 to Yerkaba, I would say that it's less likely that a window actually breaks, because guess what? Like, the windows aren't facing the field; they're facing in a more like perpendicular direction, if that makes sense. So they're not facing the batter; they're more facing away from the batter, if I would say so. But it's more likely that a car window gets broken just because of the angle of the softball when it's hit up there in the air. Foul ball down the first base line by Ava Griebel.
I wish we lived down here because I'd save a lot of money in gas getting back and forth to the fields.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's 3/4 of a mile to get from where we are to to the ballpark.
Feels like we live here anyway.
Yeah. It's a second home with no roof. That one's outside. To Griebel. Downstairs. Ground ball out to second for first is in time. Allison Yurkeva on second base, and the batter is Abby Toll after a strikeout to Griebel. 11 Ks for Ava Fisher. Maybe that's why she had so many during the 2022 season. A, because of how many games were played, and B, because of how good she is at striking out these hitters. I mean, 11 through 4 2/3 innings, is really a remarkable feat, if I say so myself. You really can't top a pitcher that just can mow down hitters with incredible precision. You know, if they give up a walk or two, then there's a swing and a miss to Toll. So 3 strikeouts and a walk for Fisher, a dozen in 5 innings, and we continue to remain tied through 5 here in Audubon. A 1-1 game. We'll go to break. Top of the 6th, we've had a good ball game. It's a 1-1 game. Emily Bobo and Ava Fisher having a pitcher's duel of a lifetime, and I gotta say, this is a 180-degree different ball game than what Audubon and St. Joe's had last year in April when it was a 16-15 game. And of course, the difference is that in the first game, the wind was blowing out, and in the second game, the wind is blowing in. The American flag in front of the Audubon High School is pretty stiffly out there, headed towards this field, blowing in the southern direction. As the first batter at the top of the sixth will be Ava Fisher, the pitcher. Here's a ground ball out towards third, and rather it was snagged by Bobo. I didn't even see it. The play was so fast, and Fisher is retired. One away. So one away. Like we said, Fisher's got 12 strikeouts, and Bobo's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 so far. First pitch to Kylie Tomlin is a ball. She popped out to the third baseman in her first try and struck out in her second. Really, the best player for St. Joe's so far has been either Macy Jaquette, who has gotten a single and an E3 and has moved up to second, moved up to scoring position in 2 out of her 3 plate appearances today. And then you also have a couple other players who have done pretty good for St. Joe's today, but just overall low-scoring game. Good catch there by Kylie Alkins at first base. 2 down. And this brings up Angelina, Bella Davis. Bobo does not strike out Davis. This will be the first inning in this game that she has gone a full inning without striking out a batter. Struck out 1 in the first, 2 in the second, 1 in the third, 2 in the fourth, 2 in the fifth. But the 5th inning was really the best one for St. Joe so far. Here's a fly ball, right field. It is deep. It is just missing. This will be a double. And in fact, going to third is going to be Davis, and she is safe.
Live broadcast for nothing.
Yeah. Put yourself on the line. That ball was about 10 feet from our booth.
I was like, protect the camera.
Holy cow. Well, Erin Small, after that triple by Bella Davis, is coming out now, and we may see a pitching change here. So if that is the case, Bobo will go home with no earned runs, just 1 run on the board for St. Joe's. A total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits allowed. And like we said, 8 strikeouts. So looks like they're just going to go over some strategy. Bobo remains in the game. And after having some time to recoup, the first batter will be Angelina Bill. With Bella Davis on third with the first extra base hit of the game for either side, I believe. It's really been a game of singles. Game of singles, walks, errors.
Good pitching.
Very good pitching. And while the defense maybe could use a little bit of work for both sides, you know, they've really shown improvement from the first inning into now, which sometimes you don't see. Because over the course of the game, you need to be able to adapt from the first pitch to the last. And if you can't work through adversity, then you're going to make the same mistakes at the end of the game when it matters more than at the beginning of the game. Pitch to Bill as a pop-up foul. Headed out towards Walnut Street. There's a nice car driving down the road. You got to keep it slow. Strike count to Bill, 2 down, runner on third, it's downstairs. Count is full. Three balls, 2 strikes. Bobo facing Bill. bit of a jam. And there is strike. No?
No?
Strike 4.
How about that was strike 3?
Yeah, I guess we had the wrong one. Okay, I guess
Try that
now.
again. 3 and 2.
Now it's 3 and 2. That one is a check swing and a strike by Bobo. 9 strikeouts through 6 innings, and she leaves the runner on third. So St. Joe's threatens, but does not get the run home. It's 1-1 going to the bottom of the 6th. Bottom of the 6th. Boy, oh boy, are we moving fast. First batter of the bottom of the 6th will be Peyton Marone. His first pitch is outside. Ava Fisher wheeling and dealing. A dozen strikeouts, going to try to make it a baker's dozen here. As pitching has been the name of the game. A 1-1 game in the bottom of the 6th inning. Really have been working fast. That one's inside. 2-0 to Marone. Due up this inning will be the bottom of the order. Marone, Calhoun, and Canuso, followed by the top of the lineup for the Green Wave. Strike 1, maybe? No, 3-0. See, the umpire, no offense against him, but it's just he's taken a long time to make the strike call. Like,
Yeah.
like he probably says it audibly, but I can't hear it from
You
here.
can hear it out here.
There's ball 4. So Marone starts it off with a walk, and this brings up Abby Calhoun. So far, Fisher has allowed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 walks. Here's a bunt. Infield was ready for it, and a sacrifice by Canuso. Makes that a big out right there. Rather by Calhoun. Here is Alexa Canuso. I was wondering what I was missing there. Was one batter down in the order. There's a strike called to Canuso. On second is Angelina Eckert, the pinch runner for the Green Wave. Upstairs, 1-1. Up. You know, it is interesting considering Calhoun is the left fielder. I wonder if she is being pitch ran for to get ready for a relief job in 7th. Very well be possible. 2-strike count to Gianna Canuso, or rather Alexa Canuso. That is her older sister. Ball in the dirt. Eckert goes to third, and she is safe. So getting in there, and now here in the bottom of the 6th, this is huge for Alexa Canuso. Infield is in, all 4 infielders on the edge between the grass and the dirt. And there's a swing and a miss. A baker's dozen strikeouts for Ava Fisher. That's 13 on the day. And this brings up Emma Spire. Probably the best time for her to come up with 2 outs and a runner on third, which would be the go-ahead run here in the bottom of the 6th. So this would be huge for the Green Wave if they can convert right here. First pitch to Spire, getting a running start, and it's fouled back. So it's 0-1 to Spire, and mid at bat we're going to have Les Olson come out for St. Joe's, and we might see something here. Probably with an 0-1 count and with the situation that they're in, 2 outs, a runner on third, and Audubon looking to score their go-ahead run. It would be very likely that maybe they're just talking over strategy. I would imagine that they don't take out Fisher mid-at-bat. I would really imagine that that wouldn't be the case, but seems like they're having a pretty lengthy discussion, and Olson and friends break. To Spire. Runner on third, 60 feet away from a go-ahead run, scoring for the Green Wave, as there is a strike. It's 0-2. If Spire gets aboard, Valerio is up, who has a walk and 2 strikeouts. Spire has a walk, a strikeout, and a single, which she ended up scoring on. The ground ball back towards third. Throw to first is not in time, and the Green Wave lead late. So a beautiful, beautiful infield single. I had highly underestimated how fast Emma Spire could get to first base, but when it's only 60 feet to the bag, you don't really have to run as far. And now Adriana Di Valerio will look to maybe move that runner aboard and make it more than a 1-run lead, as now going down to second is Spire, looking for her 2nd stolen base of the day, and she's got it. In there without a contest, or with a contest, but without much problem. As it's an 0-1 count to Di Valerio. So Emma Spire has been really the star of the show in what is her freshman year. An RBI on the single in the third, and now, or rather a single in the third that brought her home. So she was the first run to score, and then she drove in the 2nd run to score. So she's been a huge benefactor for the Green Wave here on this opening day. In the dirt, and Spire's going for third, and this time the ball gets away. It'll be a dead ball. It went into the Audubon dugout, and she will score as the throw seemed to trickle away from Willis, and the ball went straight into the Audubon dugout, out towards where that cluster of players are, and it's now 3-1. So the bases are now wiped clean, as Audubon has jumped out to that 2-run lead, but not in the way that they would have thought, because Di Valerio still has to have her at bat. It's 2-2 count. I still have to update my scorebook. So Emma Spire gets the infield single and then comes around on 2 stolen bases and an error. Ball 4. A close call, but Di Valerio will be at first. And now Emily Bobo. I mean, once you have that momentum going, it can really end up making a big difference. Huge difference right there. Valerio trailing off of first, taking a look back is Taquette, but nothing going on there. That one is way outside, but a huge save by Taquette to prevent that ball from being a wild pitch. Fans grabbing their blankets and weather gear as it is getting a little bit colder as the sun seems to dip a little bit further down, and that's upstairs. It should be 2-1 to Bobo. If she were to get aboard here with 2 on, then that would mean that Allison Yurkeva would hit before we get to the top of the 7th. But I would have to imagine that maybe Abby Calhoun might be pitching because of the fact that she was pinch ran for by Eckerd earlier in the inning. It was a walk and then a fielder's choice, or rather a sacrifice bunt, a strikeout, followed by a single, 2 stolen bases, an error, and a walk. Here's a ground ball out towards short, and it trickled into left field. So a base hit for Bobo, and they continue passing the baton 60 feet along. So the second hit of the inning for the Green Wave, and it doesn't even really matter how hard you hit it, as long as you get it through that gap in the infield, it ends up working wonders. So runners now stand on first and second, as now Taquette will meet with her pitcher Fisher. But really, what a game this has been. I mean, no extra base hits for the Green Wave. They have a total of 3, 4 hits, all singles. But like we said, Emma Spire, it was a walk by, excuse me, it was, where was I? In the third, yes. So in the third, it was a single by Emma Spire, followed by a strikeout, a walk by Bobo, and then Allison Yurkeva grounded it back to the mound and over the pitcher Fisher overthrew the first baseman, which meant that Spire could score, and then instead of her being on the opposite end of it, she ends up being the one to drive in the go-ahead, as that one's upstairs. It's 1-0 to Yurkeva, but then Emma Spire, it was a walk to Marone, fielder's choice, strikeout, and then the single by Spire, and then 2 stolen bases. Lined, and you could hear exactly where that one hit. There's one sign up there, and it's commemorating a juniors team, and of course you can't see it because it's facing the other way. It faces the grandstands, not where we are. So it's a 1-1 count to Yurkeva. Outside, Taquette has done a really good job, as she had a really nice run up and pump fake there. Looked like she was ready to just throw out the runner at second at a moment's notice. Fans mingling about as the Green Wave have a little bit more comfortable of a lead, but no lead is comfortable in this sport. There's a strike. 2 strike count to Yurkeva, should be 1-2. Upstairs. Audubon dugout, loving it. Inside, and it's ball 4. Both runners move up. So bases are juiced now, 1, 2, and 3. To bring up Griebel. Here's a ground ball. Past first, into right. A run scores, and the throw to first is safe, and the throw home is safe. So 2 runs score. on a liner single to right by Ava Griebel, and what was a tie game when this inning started has now turned into a runaway train, and the track where it's going, nobody knows. It's 5-1 Audubon. As runners now stand on first and third, Yerkeba on third, Griebel on first, and the batter is Abby Toll with 2 down. This makes for a really interesting situation. 4 runs in the bottom of the 6th. St. Joe's will have due up in the top half of the 7th inning, which would be their last chance. Would be Brooke Tyndale, Bella Ramos, and then back to the top of the order with Elena Dorsey. So that will be a very, very interesting situation to see how the Wildcats deal with it. Here's a pop-up. Fisher's got it. So the jam is over, but St. Joe's, they have a lot of work to do. So Griebel, Toll pops out to the mound, but the Green Wave score 4. We go to the top of the 7th. They're taking the field now, getting ready for the last 3 outs of the ball game if they can hang on. It's 5-1. Top of the 7th inning, Emily Bobo still out there for another go-around, so I wonder what the whole substitution with Calhoun was about. But she's 3 outs away from a complete game as both pitchers have gone all the way, and I feel like that is more commonplace in softball, considering that, as you know, Ava Fisher had 114 innings, which is, in baseball terms, absolutely insane, because the Colonial Conference, they're most tenured pitcher in terms of innings pitched last year only had 55. Emily Bobo at 58. But Bobo's about to have her first 7 of the 2023 campaign as a junior, again committed to Barton College in North Carolina. Here is Brooke Tyndale. First pitch to Tyndale is a strike. Yes, that's how it's called. On the outside corner. 0-1. Strike 2. Bobo setting Tyndale down early. 8-9-1. And there's a swing and a miss. Bobo with 10 strikeouts. Both pitchers have had double-digit Ks so far. And there's one away. Green Wave 2 outs away from their first victory of 2023. It'll be Bella Ramos now. She had a sacrifice bunt and a strikeout in her 2 at-bats so far. Tyndale has had 2 strikeouts and a walk. Got to second base in her first plate appearance in the top of the 3rd, but was left stranded. First pitch to Ramos is a strike. After this will be Elena Dorsey, number 1 batter for the Wildcats of St. Joseph's Hamilton. That one is downstairs. This game has really moved quickly. How are we looking at the stream right now? 2:13. So subtract about 10 minutes. Yeah, about a 2-hour game for full 6.5 innings. You know, 7, almost 7. But again, they would have to tie the game to get to that point. That one's upstairs to Ramos, and it is a 1-1 count. Remember, both of these teams won their respective conferences and went all the way to the Group 1 and non-public B finals, respectively. However, the difference is that St. Joseph's Hamilton got all the way to the final round. Meanwhile, Audubon was stuck at the South Jersey Group 1. There's the foul ball. The difference really lies in that for non-public schools, there is only 8 teams that compete in the bracket, in the playoff bracket. Meanwhile, for the public schools, it's a 16-team tournament. 2-strike count to Ramos. 1-2. Again, it will be Elena Dorsey. After that will be the catcher, Macy Jaquette. Swing and a miss. Make that 11 for Bobo. As they'll toss the infield, toss the ball around the infield again. And Bobo is 3 strikes and 1 out away from a complete game. And what has been quite an eventful one. We thought that in the 5th inning that St. Joseph's would be on their way to maybe coming back and getting a couple more runs on the board. However, the bottom of the 6th proved to be really the most influential inning for the Green Wave this afternoon. Beautiful opening day, and it looks like it'll be an even more beautiful win for the Audubon Green Wave Softball Club. That one is outside, 2-0. To Elena Dorsey. Again, if this inning were to continue, if this game were to continue, it would be followed by Macy Jaquette and the third baseman, Abby Willis. Emily Bobo working strong out there. Next game will be Wednesday, April 5th versus the Collingswood Panthers, as that's a plunker. Going to first base. She takes it with pride and takes a jog down there, and the dugout seems to love it. Here is Macy Jaquette. Bobo hasn't really had a lot of walks, only 1, and that's really it. Only 1 walk and 1 hit by pitch. Everything else has either been singles or, like we said, there was Bella Davis who had the triple in the 6th, but Bobo was able to get out of it. Throw over to first, trying to catch Dorsey napping, but nothing going on there. It's 1-0 to Jaquette. Runner on first, 2 down, top of the 7th. Audubon up by 4 over to St. Joseph's Hamilton Wildcats. There is a swinging strike on a bit of a halfway swing. And it's 1-1. Outside, 2-1. Bobo looking to slow it down a little bit, keep the rhythm steady. She looks to shut this game down. That's upstairs, 3-1. Might need a little bit of a mound visit here if she can walk Jaquette. That'll bring up again Abby Willis. If the inning were to continue, it's a 3-1 count. She kind of loops one in the right on a swinging bunt, and that's going to move everybody up. What a clutch hit there for Macy Jaquette. And now the runners are on 2nd and 3rd with 2 down for Abby Willis. So that complicates things a little bit. It looked like Bobo was well on the way to sealing the game without much contest, but Elena Dorsey is now on 3rd, and Abby Willis, their number 3 hitter, is at the dish. So that'll be a single that she moved to 2nd on for Jaquette. It's her 2nd hit of the game. She's had a strikeout, a walk, an error, a reached on error, and a single. So 2 for 3 officially. Here's a pop-up. This could do it. Back behind the plate. Toll runs into the fence with no softball in hand. And it's a 2-strike count to Willis. 1-2 to Abby Willis. Everybody's letting loose. St. Joseph's Hamilton can muster a hit out of this and score the 2 runs. It will be Ava Fisher, who has thrown the complete game for St. Joe's. That'll be at the plate, and it will be 5-3. 2-strike pitch. Swinging a pop-up, first base side. It is on to Walnut Street. taking a couple caroms, but still alive are the Wildcats. They will not go down without a valiant effort, that is for sure. 2 strikeouts to start the inning at the bottom of the order, but a hit by pitch and a single. And now 2 runners are in scoring position, second and third. Inside, it's 2-2. Bobo running into some trouble. You'd have to imagine that after enough adversity and after enough pitches thrown, even if it's a natural motion where you can't really get tired, you know, you'd have to imagine there still is a point where she might have to be relieved. But it's not gonna matter. Green Wave win. Emily Bobo strikes out a dozen. 12 batters is the final tally. And despite 2 runners getting aboard and 2 runners getting in scoring position right at the end, a strikeout looking of the 3rd woman in the order, Abby Willis, is how the game ends. The final here today is St. Joseph's Hamilton 1 and Audubon 5, as the bottom of the 6th inning really proved to be the perennial inning, or excuse me, the quintessential inning for the Green Wave in the bottom half. It was a 4-run frame for Audubon, and Emily Bobo shut it down. And meanwhile, even though Ava Fisher had more strikeouts than Bobo, the scoreboard says otherwise in how the game ended. Audubon improves to 1-0 in their 2023 campaign. St. Joseph's Hamilton goes to 0-1. Audubon plays Collingswood on Wednesday, and that's the next time that Audubon will have a DWB broadcast of their softball program. Check out tomorrow, as we have a, let me get on camera here for a second. We have a very complicated and busy week coming up for Audubon baseball and softball and everything else combined, as tomorrow Audubon baseball opens its season in 2023 versus the Paulsboro Red Raiders. On Wednesday we have Collingswood and Audubon softball right here at 3:45. Thursday is Audubon and Haddonfield baseball, which will be in Haddonfield, and as you may know, they don't have the best cell service, so if we can't live stream the game, it will be tape delayed and will be uploaded after the fact with live Twitter updates at DW Broadcasting. On Friday, as we said, will be Rutgers Newark and Rutgers Camden at 3:30 from the Camden Athletic Fields right here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. And on Saturday, 11 a.m. is Paul Six and Audubon in a regular season match at the Hank Greenberg Field, which is right over there by about maybe 600, 700 feet. So until next time, everybody, thank you all for tuning in to this softball opening day. Even though I may not have had the cleanest experience covering this game, it still is an honor to be covering Audubon softball here in 2023, even if it's just for 3 games and not a full season. So from everybody here at Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, my producer in the booth, Donna Wilkins, our graphic design team, Gavin Van Rel and Caleb Lane, everybody that's made this broadcast possible, thank you again and good night. We'll see you tomorrow versus Paulsboro.